Hey everyone, well I just want to start with a little video on how to create some melodies and some tips on how to do that, because I know that's kind of hard sometimes. So I'm going to do a couple things here. First, let me start by, I'm going to create a tone row. You see I've already created some tone rows here. I'm going to create another one down here at the bottom though. This is a little different than the worksheet, but I'm going to do it here instead of on the normal worksheet. And then I'll plug that into the melody. So the first thing you have to do is kind of set up some kind of scheme for it. For this one, I'm going to do something in the key of, let's just say C, because that's easy. And I'm just going to go by the numbers of the, like I'm going to assign every scale degree a number. So for example, the notes of a C scale are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and so forth. And so I'm going to just assign every single number, every single letter a number. So for example, C is going to be 1. So everywhere there's a 1, I'm going to put a C. And that's all the ones. Everywhere there's a 2, I'm going to put a D, because C, D, D would be 2. On 3, that's going to be E. See any other 3s? There we go. And then 4 is going to be F. 5 is going to be G. I have another 5 over here and another one over here. 6 is going to be A. And then 9, well, let's see, if I go from C, that's going to end up being D again, because I go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that's 8. Number 9 would be D, which is the same as 2. And again, when we're doing the tone rows, it can be any octave that you really want. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this down here. I'm going to move back to Safari, exit full screen though, so I can kind of manipulate it a little bit better. And then I'm going to pull this up so you can see my tone row at the bottom. There it is. Now here I am in Noteflight. This is my page for it, so you can see all my different compositions here. But I'm going to go up to New Score. I'm going to create a new score. I get to choose what instruments I want. I'm going to do this for piano. So that I can play it, and it's going to be there. Okay, and then it just sets it up. Usually you have 4 measures, and so, but when you're starting to do a melody, don't worry about all the other things that go along with it, like the accompaniment. Just start off with a real simple note-by-note melody. That's kind of the key thing to getting this going. And because I know sometimes it's hard to come up with a melody of your own simply by just going at it or thinking about it and doing all those things at once. But you're not Mozart. Nobody's Mozart except him. And so we have to have a way to do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just kind of write the notes out. So it'd be, I'm just going to do quarter notes, E, C, F. And I have another C. I'm going to go back to this one. And then I have G, D. And I have 2 Ds in a row, don't I? So I'm going to actually do this one an octave higher. And then A, G, E, G, D, and that's my tone row right there. So if I play it back, this is the cool thing that I like about this. And that's it. That's what it sounds like. Now, that doesn't sound like a very good melody right now. And the reason for that is because it's all the same rhythm. A lot of times people, especially when they're starting to compose, they just kind of go all through it with quarter notes, and especially in this case, it sounds kind of random. So it doesn't sound very good. Usually when it's just simple quarter notes, I encourage you to do step motion, but that's a whole nother lesson that I teach in the composition classes. So I want to do some different rhythms here. So for example, I'm going to make sure I have my rhythm out here. Oops. Duration. I'm going to do an 8th note there. And then E, da, da, da. And then what I want to do, because I can repeat notes, of course, I want to create a rhythm that is, well, it sounds good. And it makes it more varied. So I'm going to put another 8th note there. Maybe let's try that. Let's see how that sounds in the first measure. Okay, that sounds pretty good right there. Da 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 da. Maybe I'll take this C and I'll move it up an octave. Okay, now you see this pattern I'm creating here with the rhythm. Eighth, eighth quarter, eighth, eighth quarter. Well, I'm going to continue that rhythm and see what I can do with the rest of it. And I like the repeated part of it. And then let's make that an eighth note. There we go. Let's see how that one's going to turn out. Let's see. I want to vary it here, and just let that be quarter notes. Dun, 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 dun. But here I'm going to go back to my rhythm with the repeated note. And then, at this point, I have 4 measures. Now, if you remember correctly, in the rules, it has to be between 8 and 12 measures. So I'd have to repeat my tone row again. So my next note would have to be either, it could be 2 things. It could be a C or it could be an E, because you can resolve down to it has to be an E. It can resolve to the very first note of the tone row as well. But if I'm repeating it, then I'm going to start back on the E again, right? So let's see. And I'm going to make that a eighth note. There it is up here. Oops. And I'm going to go back down to the C. Now in music we like to repeat things. So I'm going to again do exactly what I did before. But sometimes we like to do things a little bit differently. So let's see, here I go again. I have E, C, F, C, and then I'm back to my G. Oops, wrong way. I'm going to do my other D here. Let's make those eighth notes. And then here we go again. So and let's see, this will be measures 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make that a half note. And then let's see how this sounds. Okay, and so there I am, and that's a little bit better melody. It sounds a little more melodic, right? So I might want to still play around with it. Maybe I don't like the big leap here, so I'm going to maybe bring this back down to a C, or lower these ones too. And just the cool thing about this is that you can play around with it, change it up, hear what it sounds like, and then you can make it sound better if you want. Okay. Now another way to change it too, that I'm not going to do right now, is you can change your tone row. That's why I on the worksheet I gave you 4 options for tone rows. So you can say, hey, you know what, I don't think this tone row is working out quite well. And so you can come up with a different tone row that maybe is a little bit more melodic. If you look at the examples, I give you several ways of doing a tone row. Like for example, the first example is actually based upon this tone row right here, which is based upon ascending third. So you see the first 2 notes are a third away, C to E, or skip you might call it. The next 2 notes, E to G, that's another third. Well, the ones that repeat, so I had to go back to the E. But then G to B, that's a third. B to D, that's another third. D to F is a third. F to A is a third. And then 5, I already had a 5, so I had to repeat that one. I think all the rest are repeats anyways from that point. So there's lots of other ways to do it. This one, no, not that one, sorry. This one I did based upon a D major scale, but I just kind of randomly assigned the notes, which is another way to make it sound even more melodic. So anyways, so that's how you kind of start getting creative with a melody. Again, that was 7 measures. So there's my E, and that might be a good place to end it, but I would need 8 measures there. So I'd have to kind of adjust it. So another way I could do it, I can make this a little bit longer. Let's see, make that a half note. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's see, I'm just going to delete that and do it again. There we go. So there's my E. Oops, where'd my tone row go? Let's move that down so I can see. So there's my E. I'm sorry, my G. D. I'm going to make that a whole note. And then I'm going to add one more measure in here. To add a measure, if you need to add a measure, just hit highlight the measure up here. See how you can do that on the top? And then hit the plus sign, and that'll give you another measure. And, oops, that should be a G. Nope, that's the D. And then I'm going to end on E. Big whole note. So sometimes it gives you an extra measure just because, oops, that's not what I wanted. You can delete measures if you don't want an extra measure there. And now it's 8 measures, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's my whole melody. There we go. Sorry about that. So anyways, that's just some ways to create a melody. So the big things to take away from this are vary the rhythm, find a rhythm pattern to use with it. And I'll make another video later on to show you how to do some accompaniment with different patterns. So in fact, I'll even show you on this composition. I'm going to just title it Pi Day Composition. And that should be fun. So, all right. Well, that's enough for this video. I'll see you again in a couple of days to help describe how to do some accompaniment. All right, bye-bye.